For me, traditional fire started around about 9 years ago. I was working as a ranger with the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre. I was the caretaker at Risdon Cove, and we had a fellow named Victor Stephenson come down from North Queensland, trying to teach us and make us understand how to read country and put the right fires back into the land. I think we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years with the bushfires that are happening all around Australia, the Arve Road fires that happened here in 2019. As horrible as they were a really important wake-up call for us, because now we're sitting in a room and we're starting to have conversations around what we need to do. So when Victor come down, I remember standing on the Central Highlands with him, and he said, "Our country will tell you where to put fire." And I remember looking at one of my friends and just saying to him, "This guy's an absolute nutcase." We stayed with Victor for 5 days, burning around properties up in the Central Highlands. And within 5 days, I started to see some of the things that Victor was talking about. And one of the hurtful things that happened to us Tasmanian Aboriginal people were our stories were all, if not erased, they were taken out of the landscape. So for us, fire's not just about putting it in the landscape, it's about recreating the stories that were here for thousands of years. We just can't go out and burn the country without these stories. So we come down to the Cygnet area. This is my traditional area. I'm a descendant of Fanny Cochran Smith. My whole family grew up around Nichols Rivulet. So for me, coming back to my home country to do this was really important. And it wasn't just because of the fires that we've seen in the Arve Road fires, and it was because, part of my soul is here. So when I look at you council fellas, when I look at John and the Puckanuh Services mob, this is something that's starting to create real opportunities for us to come together and start learning and teaching each other how to look after country properly. But there's certain management systems that we put into place before the fire is put into the landscape that makes that fire a low intensity type of fire, and the risk factor that comes with that fire is next to zero, because the right fire on country at the right time should be a self-extinguishing fire. That fire should go out by itself. We spent 5 to 6 hours going through and removing a lot of the dead wood, a lot of the twigs, the branches that have been fallen on the ground. Because what happens, the more fuel load when it comes to logs and sticks that we've got on the ground, the hotter it is when it burns through them. So we will do a lot of manual labour in removing a lot of that dead wood out. And as we're doing that, country's giving us all these other indicators of why and where we should put the fire. We might have already been in there and removed a lot of that dead wood, but before we put that first fire, as far as reducing the fuel in there, we do the smoking ceremony. That smoke drifts off into the area that we're burning, and it sends a signal right down to every spider, every ant, every insect, every animal that's in that system. They know that there's fire about to come through. Because when we do that first smoking ceremony, we're acknowledging our elders, we're acknowledging the spirits of the land, and we're acknowledging the story of that land, even though we mightn't understand it. No matter how much fire we've got around us, we know that we're safe. We know exactly where the fire's going to go and what it's going to do. Most of the properties that we take on board, we say to the landholders, if you're not in this for the next 25 to 30 years, we can't help you. And if we think we can fix it in, 10, 20, 30 years, we're kidding ourselves. We've got a long way to go. But if we don't start to do something, it's going to be too late. And I don't want to alarm people, but honestly, the fuel loads that we see out on country, if we don't start to come together now as one big group and start to heal this land, we're going to see fires in this landscape in the next 20 years that we've never ever seen. It doesn't matter where your heritage comes from, whether you have Aboriginal heritage, we all need to start sharing this knowledge and passing it on. We've got to be careful how we share this knowledge, because it is sacred knowledge and we're willing to share it, but don't come into this space and kind of take something away and run with it in your own way. It's really important for me as an Aboriginal man, a descendant of Fanny Cochran Smith, that I'll continue to do this. This is my passion, but I want to share it with you. You know, I want us all to kind of lift each other up and to start working together, not as Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people, as one mob. We've all got a connection to this land. Because I say quite often, there's not enough Aboriginal people on this island with knowledge to look after it the way that our old people did. So we need everyone to play a part in this.